Hello guys, so we're gonna be watching a very interesting game between two very high ranked players spawning here at the bottom. It's a player for Deutsche Afrika Korps named Rickley, and his opponent is playing for United States Forces. It's Miguel. It's a very interesting map called Pacino's Stalemate. It's a very peculiar location here at the center. There's a victory point that every player is going to be trying to contest. But the problem about this map is that it's very narrow in the middle, and you kind of have to engage between the buildings all the time. You have to take hold of these structures, and there's always some kind of mess in the center. So this is a very funny map to play on, and especially with your infantry at the beginning. But it can also get really ugly because it's super easy to take hold of the center and never let it go. So it's very important for any player on this map is to take control of that area and try to establish a good foothold there for future advancements, and maybe even like trying to pin your opponent down at the base. So it's going to be a really interesting match between those very high ranked players. Rickley is around like, I don't quite remember, but I think at the moment that I'm casting this replay, he's around like top 15, something like that, and his opponent Miguel is also around the same position on the leaderboard. So they are kind of even players, but obviously it depends a lot on who you're facing as well and what playstyle you're gonna be playing against, because in Company of Heroes you have to play against two factions each time, right? Because if you're playing as Germany, you have to face either United States or Great Britain, and obviously vice versa. As a United States player, you gotta face, well, pretty much the same country, Germany, but you still gotta differentiate between Wehrmacht and Afrika Korps, because the playstyle for them and the playstyle against them is significantly different. So yeah, you need to be aware of that. By the way, German player is using Bersaglieri. This is the Italian infantry, which is not really that great in combat, to be honest. This infantry is very good at taking map control though, so the biggest strength of this unit is their speed, and they can arrive at the positions very quickly, and this is actually what this player is trying to do right now. He's trying to secure his half of the map and then start pushing forward. So far, however, he's facing resistance from the American player on this side. Miguel is trying to advance with two squads of infantrymen. At the same time, he also has combat sappers on the side. They have a semi-automatic weapon, so it's very it's not even semi, it's just automatic weapon, and it makes it really difficult to engage in close distance. So yeah, Bersaglieri are trying to fight on this side, but obviously the German is actually losing this battle because US troops also have Thompson, and this is a pretty big deal actually on this distance, so should be very careful. Bersaglieri are trying to hold this point, but obviously it's not gonna do anything. Pioneers are getting their flamethrower, and this can actually help a bit in this battle, but obviously they can't really advance forward, it's a bit risky, and the German player just has to disengage at the moment. He still has the Kratschützen, the motorbike here, and will probably trying to capture some extra points. He's not really facing any resistance so far, but yeah, for the German player the first engagement went poorly, I would say. Not that bad, but could have been a lot better. But it's like, you know, it's kind of okay for the for this game, because Deutsche Afrika Korps is the most expensive faction in this game, not in regards to vehicles and armor, but in regards to their infantry, because the infantry for this faction is very costly, and you didn't really you cannot really lose many of your troops actually at the battlefield. You need to be very careful about preserving your manpower, and that's why you would often see yourself retreating back just to save those poor soldiers than just trying to hold the ground to gain resources or something else. So yeah, that's actually a pretty normal thing to happen. Kratschützen just narrowly escapes this encircling by these two American squads, but that was a bit lucky. I think if the American player had some grenades, could have easily dispatched that motorcycle, but it didn't really happen, so that was very lucky for the German guy. So far the game is looking really decent for both of the players. The German is obviously trying to improve his Bersaglieris. He's adding an upgrade for them, which is a part of the battle group, which gives an extra model. So the squad size is going to be 6 men, not 5, but he still has to go back to base to reinforce. And American player is just playing his armored battle group, which is exceptionally strong at the late game, but obviously not in the beginning, where you kind of need to survive till you get those sweet tanks, Sherman, and so on. But yeah, for now on, just need to be careful. There's this Panzer Grenadiers throwing the grenades. Very good job, Assault Grenadiers rather. They're trying to advance, and yeah, they actually managed to push back those American troops, but they need to be very careful right now, because obviously when you fight against such large numbers of infantry, you need to be very careful when you engage in an open field like this, because with those rifles, yeah, you can't really battle against such amount of squads, so you need to be very careful, you need to retreat. But yeah, so far the German player is doing a really good job right now. He's trying to capture the left side of the map, he's advancing slowly, and the American player was spending some time at home at his base and trying to apparently heal his infantry before re-engaging in the middle. So yeah, both players had like a kind of a small pause, and now they are just trying to secure ground once again. There is this flak track that's trying to push those squads back, and it's probably gonna work out actually, because there's just nothing to do with this vehicle, and this could be a big problem for the American player. In Company of Heroes, it's very easy to lose hold of the map, to lose control of the map if you make a mistake like this, because this is like the scariest period when you don't really have any light armor to counter such stuff yourself. You just need to be extra careful with how you position your forces, and you need to try to still stay on the map somehow, because what can happen right now, the German player can easily lock the American player on his base and just capture the majority of the points on the map, which is gonna snowball quite a lot into the late game with a huge German advantage. So needs to be very careful, the American player. So far he's doing a good job. There is a nice grenade going. Oh, it was actually pretty painful, but I think the German player actually lost more of his own troops because of that grenade, and this wasn't really a great exchange, to be honest. But anyway, American player is now not in the best spot. He now needs to somehow regain control of his part of the map. He's like still holding a lot of manpower points, which is super important in this game. He's also still controlling those points here, fuel and munitions, so it's kind of good. But yeah, he keeps losing a lot of manpower at the same time, so I'm a bit worried about his position in the game. There is a risk to lose this squad actually. This sappers can be dead, but no, actually they managed to escape with just one hit point here. It's a very good moment for the American player. Cannon is already here, so 80 gun should be very useful in this fight, but obviously the German player already knows about that, so he's not trying to be very aggressive and assertive with his track here. He's trying to be actually a bit more careful, and this is actually the perfect usage of that gun. So yeah, he's doing a great job controlling the map right now, and American player can't really do anything about that. A nice shot lands perfectly, but it's not enough, and the second one actually goes to the same direction, but doesn't really hit because the track obviously just decided to move back, which makes sense. But yeah, the American player is trying really hard to get back into this game, but obviously he's losing hold of the control, just losing control here in general, and obviously this is not a very good thing to happen in such a game. Nice shot for the Kratzschussen, but somehow misses on such a small distance. That was a bit unexpected, to be honest, but yeah, this can happen. Company of Heroes is a bit random game at times, so you need to be cautious about that. So yeah, American troops are still managing to reconquer this territory. Doesn't look really that great, obviously, but well, on the other hand, again, he's still trying to survive till at least he maybe like has enough money for first light week or something like that. The problem for the German player right now is that he has a lot of extra infantry and extra units that are forcing his manpower to actually decrease. And you can see that Rickley is receiving a lot less than his American opponent. That's because his army is considerate and it is actually bigger. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter if your army is bigger if you can't really utilize that to the fullest capacity. So you need to be aware of that in Company of Heroes as well. This is a very tricky thing about game economy. And even with those manpower points that can be used to make your army even larger, it doesn't really look like it's working out for the German player so far. But there is the first Greyhound, and this is going to be an interesting challenge for the German player. The German player doesn't really have any tools to deal with this thing, but hold on for a second. There is going to be a very nice engagement for the American player. He's following this flak track, and flak track is using armor-piercing rounds, which could be a big deal for this Greyhound. Greyhound is missing for the second time in a row, and this could be a disaster for this player. Another hit lands actually, but there is the Panzerjägers following from behind. Obviously this track has been destroyed, but can Greyhound actually escape this battle? This is very, very risky right now, but it doesn't look like this Sonderkraftfahrzeug is gonna actually follow him, because it's super risky, and the hit points on this track are also incredibly low, so one shot should be enough. And yeah, Panzerjägers are actually losing this fight quite hard, and they need to retreat back. This was actually an amazing comeback by the American player, who actually managed to destroy two things at once and actually also save his Greyhound, which was a super big deal in this fight, because if he lost the Greyhound, that would have been a completely different situation, obviously. And now the German player has to do something about that. He needs to either make an AT gun himself, but he is opting for another track instead, so he thinks that a flak cannon could be still useful on the battlefield, which is actually true. Yeah, why not? Because at one point the German player is gonna have Karo Armata light tanks, which are not that great, to be honest, because they are light tanks, but they are also dirt cheap, and you can mass produce them and just overpower even medium tanks when you have enough numbers, right? So it's a viable way to play this game, but it's not the best one, obviously. However, it's still good, because you don't need any other buildings. You can produce Karo Armatas from this battle group just if you have command points and if you unlock them in your battle group. That's how it works. So you don't need extra buildings, you don't need to invest a lot of fuel and manpower into the Panzer command, which obviously gets you a very nice advantage in the game, at least in terms of resources. Obviously, the German player just decided to commit to another flak track again. He needs that to control the map a bit better and fight the American troops here. But he's also ordering another squad of Panzerjägers. This is interesting, because normally you would choose an AT gun, because it does a bit more damage and just a bit more reliable than Panzerjägers. Panzerjägers, they also, as far as I'm concerned, they ask for more manpower resources than just a regular AT gun, so it could be an interesting thing. The problem with Panzerjägers is also that they are not so good at dealing with medium tanks. So if there is a Sherman something heavier than Sherman is gonna be a problem. But so far, it seems like the German player is actually trying to engage here, and he's just gonna grab his opponent's AT gun instead. He's not building his own, he's just trying to secure that one from the American hands. Why not, actually? This is a very good decision here, but he's losing quite a lot of troops as well. But the cannon, the AT gun, has been taken, and this is a very interesting moment for the German player right now. Obviously, the American player is going to be trying to contest that, but I'm not sure if this is going to work out. Yeah, there are quite a lot of German troops around this area. There is some help from the Italian Bersaglieri, but they're retreating back. They're very low HP at the moment, but so are Greyhounds. They need to retreat back at home to get the repairs done. And actually, this one doesn't make it home, because Panzerjägers were very quick to react. This is a nice comeback by the German player, by the way, because American player lost quite a lot of stuff in this one battle. It seemed like actually he was fortunate enough to gain such a good advantage in this game, but now it's been all reversed. Doesn't look like he still has anything going for him anymore. Yes, obviously there's still one Greyhound, which is alright, which can be very useful, but yeah, now the German player has an AT gun as well. He has two squads of Panzerjägers, and he's also gonna have his own tanks very, very soon, and this would be a big problem for the American player. Obviously, he now has another cannon. But is it gonna be enough? German troops are so fast that they can easily overrun this cannon if they want to, as they just did with this one. Assault Grenadiers are still trying to seize control of this area. It's very difficult to do because the American troops are shooting from very well established positions, and there is also a flamethrower at the location, and the Berserkers just need to go back. Greyhound is looking for a good angle to attack, and it's actually hitting this cannon track. Very nice. Greyhound is trying to engage in the middle right now. It's actually providing a lot of value to the American army here. This little boy is still doing a lot of damage. But he now needs to be a lot more careful because Panzerjägers are coming here. 4 shots land perfectly, and Greyhound just needs to go back at home right now. He's just extremely vulnerable right now, so no way he can advance further. And this is the problem for the American player. The moment he loses his Greyhound, or the moment he just loses the HP on the Greyhound, he needs to take a step back and be on defensive again. And yeah, the problem is that Germans just have a bit better tools for the close quarter combat here, right? Because they have this Assault Grenadiers, they also have the Berserkers, which are pretty decent at the close range, by the way, especially if they get the Breda machine gun. Could be extremely deadly at those ranges. Not necessarily better than the American troops, but still, this could be a big problem. And Kratzschützen, by the way, is still alive, which is pretty impressive, because this is a very weak unit, it's a super fragile motorbike, but the German player is utilizing it to its best capacity, still capturing points, still being around the map, and still giving scouting information, because Kratzschützen has a very big range of sight. So you can see a lot of stuff like this 80 gun, for example, and now American player might lose another gun, which could be absolutely detrimental right now for him. And this is actually gonna happen, but obviously the German player cannot really reach that and can grab that and just take home or salvage that, so yeah. At least this thing is going for the American player so far. He now seems to have 2 80 guns at the same time, which is actually a lot odd, but this engagement is even more important right now. Greyhound is doing a very good job defending his ground, and yeah, there is this final shot that lands perfectly. And now the German player just made a terrible mistake, to be honest. He lost this Flakvierling, and at the same time I think there was a dead Panzerjäger squad. Yeah, I think the squad just died here. We can even see the bodies lying on the floor. This was a very unlucky coincidence for the German player. He was, I think, a bit reckless here. He was trying to advance even further into the US soil, but I think it was a very big mistake by him. In Company of Heroes, it's very easy to get carried away and just... You should never really sleep on your enemy. It's very easy to lose everything you're building up for the past couple of minutes, and this happens very often. Like, it already happened with these players, and this is like a really back and forth game, but yeah, you still need to be extremely careful with every engagement, even if you have like a decent advantage, because, well, this is just a type of a game where it can happen extremely quickly and you won't even have a moment to realize what just happened, so yeah. The battle in the middle, though, was a very strange one, but now, the good thing for the German player, though, yeah, he lost his track, he lost some of his troops as well, but now he has Panzer IV, and this is a formidable tank. A very good one, but also comes with a squad of Assault Grenadiers that are gonna be very useful in those city, this little town, rather. At the same time, of course, the American player has 2 80 guns, which can be extremely deadly for this Panzer IV, but at the same time you can just avoid them, right? You can just never really appear in the middle, and you can just go around the flanks and try to cover that territory to fight with your troops, right? It's a very good tactic that you can use here. You can just send your Assault Grenadiers in the middle and try to establish a defensive position here with Berserkers. At the same time, just drive with your tank around the remaining 2 victory points. And just, yeah, this is a good way to achieve victory in Company of Heroes. You don't really need to crush your opponent directly, you can just win because you hold the points for more time than he does. And if you just take a look at the top bar, we'll see that, well, both players actually have enough points. But this was a nice shot by the American. 80 guns. Panzer IV is in a bad shape right now. Lost half of his HP. Needs to be extremely careful right now. Also, like, for some reason he's standing too close to this position, but he's actually trying to jump on this 80 guns. This is extremely risky. I'm not sure why he's doing that. This might not be working out as well as he hopes it will. Wow, but at the same time there are two squads of Panzer. Oh no, the tank's been lost. I don't think it was worth it. He tried to finish the game with this one brilliant move, but obviously it was too risky, and this Greyhound played a perfect role in this engagement. He's gonna also get the squad of assault grenadiers, and oh my god, so much damage been done in this one engagement, and poor German player, he's gonna lose this game after that. Maybe, oh actually, Panzerjägers, they're landing a perfect shot, and now they can just get this Greyhound. Maybe actually, no, still managing to escape, barely escapes the battle, but again, the damage has been already done anyway. Even if the American player is losing this vehicle, it's not a big deal. Somehow, somewhere, the American player also lost some of his troops. By the way, it seems to be the case right now, so it's not like super clear for him, obviously. He also made some mistakes during the course of that fight. You can see there is a lot of going on around this area, but well, he got the main thing, the most important thing, which is of course the Panzer tank. And now he's probably feeling a lot safer. He can also probably like order something for himself. He can use the repairing vehicle, by the way, M31, and just try to get that Panzer going. That would have been really nice of him, but it's a bit expensive, and I think it's just easier to make your own Sherman instead. But yeah, we'll see. The German player is still trying to contest this area. He's actually stealing 180 gun, which is a very good call by him. Probably should be sensing that the American player is going to be bringing some tanks very soon. And this cannon, oh my god, where are they going? This weapon crew is gonna lose their lives for that mistake. Maybe, actually. Maybe not. He's trying to retreat, but yeah, this is too close to the base, so the 80 gun is gonna be saved, but it's still like a absolutely unnecessary mistake that was made by the American player. He's doing a good job holding his ground so far, but I don't really understand how it's happening this way all the time. Like, the German player seems to be losing a bit more in the past couple of fights, but he still manages to pin down the American player at the outskirts of his base, which is not supposed to happen, to be honest. But yeah, the German player is very good with his tempo. He's always forcing his opponent to stay at his side of the map, and even though it causes some extreme casualties for the German player, it's something that sometimes is worth to do because, well, again, you get more resources, and he's going to be able to afford a new Panzer very soon. Yeah. It's interesting, though, that the American player is not making any other tanks so far. He's just very happy with this one Greyhound, and obviously he cannot really complain because this Greyhound has been a life changer and a lifesaver in general, because, well, it just did so much damage to the enemy infantry, and just overall it's present on every corner of the map, on every area, just at every point, and has been super useful for the American player. The problem, again, is the points. He just needs to hold those areas, and he needs to try to contest the points on the left side. 2 shots, and oh my god, this beloved Greyhound's been just lost because of this 280 guns and the Panzerjägers that landed the final blow. That was the last nail in the coffin. This is a big problem right now, obviously, because you need extra light vehicles to contest the map. And this could be a very big situation, like a very big problem for the American player right now. He's still trying to hold this middle point, but probably should be retreating right now. He's still trying to contest assault grenadiers, which are obviously much better at the close range, and you can see that. And the American player is just gonna lose many of his soldiers. The veteran squad's been just gunned down, and yeah, it's a pretty bad engagement, to be honest. I don't know why he was taking that. Of course, like, yeah, it's understandable he lost a Greyhound, but he could have just retreated as well. There was no point in fighting in this area. He just decided to stay there. Okay. Well, this gives enough room for the German player to advance once again and re-establish control over the left and right side of the map. And the battles continue. Nice grenade, but Bersalieris are quick to react. They also have veterancy. So 2 levels of this veterancy, and obviously they are just much better when you have your experienced troops. They just shoot better, they just evade bullets better in some weird way. But there is this Sherman Easy 8, and yeah, this unit is gonna be probably a game changer for the American player, at least until we see something similar from the German side, right? However, 280 guns is still a big problem for this Sherman, so he needs to be extremely careful with how he's driving around on this tank. Obviously, Easy 8 is very useful and it packs a punch, but you still need to be very cautious with your advances. But again, for the American player, the only thing he needs to do is basically hold the victory points at this moment. He doesn't really need to try to crush the German forces in a direct engagement, he just needs to hold his ground, and that would be enough to achieve victory in this game. German on the other side, he has a lot of resources, and it's very clear right now that he's saving up his manpower for the Tiger tank. Tiger tank is gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be just invincible in this game, because there's just nothing that can counter that. Yeah, Sherman Easy 8 can penetrate a Tiger, and it can still deal a significant damage, especially if he's shooting from the backside or just from the side armor, but, you know, it's gonna take quite a while to take down the Tiger tank, so this could be extremely scary for the American player. And I actually think this is gonna happen very, very shortly. The German player has enough manpower for the Tiger, but just not enough fuel at the moment, but obviously this is something that's gonna be collected also very shortly. Don't see much troops for the American player, by the way. It's very unlucky of him that he lost so many troops in those combats, because it's pretty important to keep your squads alive at least. Like, even if you lose a lot of manpower, you just need to make sure that they retreat at your base and regenerate, because, well, you just cannot afford to lose veterans in this game at all. Easy 8 is advancing here. Nice shot, -2 Bersaglieri. But the problem here right now, even though like this American player is feeling that he's actually win this battle, like, he just doesn't know about the existence of this Tiger. That could be a big problem at this moment. Tiger is going forward. This is... oh, he's doing so much damage. And 280 guns here, they cannot really shoot because they were dispatched by this American squad. The Tiger is just crushing everything on his way forward, but the Easy 8 also managed to escape. He doesn't have many hit points left, but at least he's alive, and this is the most important moment in this game so far. The 80 gun is probably gonna be destroyed, but no, actually the German player is very careful this time. He just doesn't want to lose that, and it makes sense, to be honest. Yeah, you don't need to do that, but, well, at the same time, both 80 guns were destroyed. Well, not destroyed, they were decrewed, so the German player can still take them, and Rickley is doing exactly that, while Miguel is now taking his time to repair this Sherman Easy 8. He also has enough resources for the second Sherman Easy 8, by the way, so it would be probably wise to save up and make that. However, both players are running low on time, so they need to be careful. They need to be very aware of that fact, because this contributes to decision making. When you don't really have much time, you need to be present on the map, and you cannot really afford to be making useless units, and you need everything in the front line. You also start healing much quicker, not because your squads are getting healthier, but because you just don't really care about their health anymore, and just try to capture as many points as you can and just be present on those victory points, which are super important on this stage of the game. And that's exactly what the German player is doing right now. Nice shot by the Tiger tank, landing perfectly on that squad of US infantry. And the second Sherman is here to Easy Eight. This is gonna be enough to actually deal with the Tiger. The only problem is that you need to engage that from the right angle, because obviously the front armor of the Tiger is too much for this Shermans to handle. Nice shot both from the 80 gun and the Tiger. Sherman Easy Eight is gonna be at home repairing for some time now. It was a bit of misplay by this American player, but at the same time the buildings are coming down right now. There is so much damage and so much action around, but the German player seems to be very assertive in this engagement. This time he's just trying to drive American forces out of this town, and he's making a lot of progress. Tiger is on the high ground right now. The cannon needs to be extremely careful. He's just trying to pull back. The Sherman player is just on the pursuit right now. It feels like he's probably gonna achieve his victory right here, right now, unless something changes and a miracle happens. Miguel needs to repair his tanks, obviously. He just doesn't have enough hit points on them. He needs to be. Yeah, doesn't look like this is a good place to advance right now. He still has some points in his bank, so he can just wait a bit and maybe like repair 1 or 2 tanks and just try to go for the last one attempt, for the last fight maybe in this game, because we just don't have enough points left, and yeah, it's gonna end one way or another very soon. So both players are, you kind of know about that, so they are not really retreating back as much, they are trying to do that as quickly as possible. This squad is probably gonna lose its life, very likely. The Tiger is already here. There's a lot of damage from his machine guns. Yeah, and the squad is just losing a lot of HPs right now. There's Sherman Easy Eight trying to engage. Not the best engagement gonna be, obviously. And there's always that cannon that's just following the steps of this powerful Tiger. And that's why you cannot really overrun that with just Shermans. It's very risky. The fight's happening in the center of this town once again, but yeah, this time again. Assault Grenadiers are just too good at this level, and they're just too useful in all those engagements. So yeah, the German troops are once again emerged victorious from this battle, and this was a perfect shot by the Tiger. DAK. He's even making fun of his opponent, but yeah, this was a very nice shot by the Tiger, and it just seems to be a big problem for the American player. I don't really see any way for him to come back right now. It's starting to feel like, yeah, I think it might be the end for the American player, even though he was fighting really well throughout the whole game. He was making his comebacks, he had his ups and downs, but the German defense now looks impenetrable. I just don't see how the American player is going to win this game. Well, there is like a small chance that he manages to actually surround the guns and maybe disable the Tiger, maybe like, you know, throw a grenade from the infantry squad and just shoot with 2 Shermans from behind. That can work out, obviously, and this is something that is very realistic, you know. This is not like an imaginary situation, but at the same time, the German player already has enough fuel for the next Panzer IV or Panzer Drive if he wants to. The Panzer is obviously not the greatest tool in this battle, but it's still gonna be somewhat useful, at least against infantry. Tiger is trying to pick from the corner, gets shot by the 80 gun, retreat back, but well, that's alright still. The problem for the American player right now is that he just doesn't have really any more infantry on the battlefield, and there's just nothing to support the tanks in this combat. Yeah, obviously, the damage from the tanks is very nice, and you can still try to push the infantry out of those areas, but you can't really engage against cannons. But maybe this is like the best shot that he's got. He can try to attack with those tanks. The smoke has been used, and now he might try to disable those cannons, which is probably gonna work actually. Yeah, there's a lot of infantry squads right now fighting, and just nothing is saving those cannons. But the Tiger on the other side, this is the problem. This is the main pain in the ass for the American player. And he also needs to engage with the Tiger, I think, a bit more proactively. He needs to be trying to do that. There is also Panzer IV is trying to fight here for those 80 guns, and Tiger is just trying to destroy this last Sherman, and does that. Second veterancy gain. Now he also becomes even more powerful than before. And even though the American player managed to get those 80 guns, it was almost a perfect operation, it's just not gonna help him to win this game because he doesn't have enough points, and at the same time this poor Easy 8 is surrounded, he's trying to evade, he's trying to escape, but not gonna happen obviously. Tiger lands the final shot, and American player pretty much lost all of his forces. He only had like one squad of engineers, but well, that's not enough to save this game, especially because the Tiger is still alive and there is now another tank on the battlefield. And that's it for this game, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If so, don't forget to subscribe for this channel. Have a nice day, and see you next time.